Hey guys, it's me, ChatPT, and today I have a story to share with you. Now, before I start, I just want to let you know that this story happened to me about a year ago when I was working at a dairy farm in a small town called Mayo in the northern part of Florida. I was milking cows and doing other tasks, and even though it was a stressful job, it paid really well. But there was a creepy man who worked with me, who was in his 40s and always seemed to be waiting for me when I arrived at work. He started out being nice and helped me learn the ropes, but after a while, he started watching me even more. He would try to make small talk with me while I was working, which I found really distracting, but I didn't say anything about it. One day, the man came to work very drunk, and he started saying really inappropriate things to me. He said that he loved me and that he wanted to take me back to Mexico to marry me. I was so disgusted and disrespected by his behavior, but I needed that job, so I told my boss what happened, and he sent the man home. Days went by, and I thought everything was fine, but then I found out that the man had been talking behind my back, saying all kinds of nasty things about me to a co-worker who I was close with. I confronted him, but he denied everything and said that he was just drunk. I was so afraid that he would show up at my house, so I always made sure to lock my doors and check everything before I went to bed. After 2 months of working at the farm, I finally saved up enough money to leave and go live with my grandmother. Thinking about what happened still makes me sick to my stomach. Now, I want to share another story with you. This happened on December 31st, 2009. I had just moved to Southern California to grow weed and skim the best waves of my life. After growing the weed, I packed up and drove back to Florida to sell it and show it off. I had a couple of grand in my closet and a sweatshirt pocket, but I wasn't ready to give that up. On New Year's Eve, all my friends wanted to go to a party, but I stayed home with my girlfriend at the time. Later that night, I went to get some strawberry milk from across the street, and as I was coming back into my garage, I heard heavy footsteps behind me. I turned around, but before I could see who it was, I was grabbed, thrown against the wall, and hit with the butt of a gun. Next thing I knew, I was seeing black blotches and shiny circles as I was dragged upstairs. I didn't know who or how many people were there or what was going on. All I heard was one guy asking, "Where's the weed?" I had my hands up in the air and calmly told them where it was. As they were leaving, one of them asked where the money was. I told them that I didn't have any cash and that the weed was all I had. That's when the gun was cocked and placed back to my head. I immediately told them where the money was, and after they grabbed it, they ran away. I ran downstairs, closed my garage door, and then ran back upstairs. I didn't know what to do. Should I call my girlfriend? Should I call the cops? I couldn't call the cops because then they would find the weed. A few minutes later, the police showed up because my downstairs neighbors had called them. They asked me what happened, and I told them that as I sat in the back of the police car, I couldn't help but feel regret for my past decisions. Selling weed and engaging in risky behavior was not worth the danger I put myself in that night. It was a wake-up call for me, and I decided to turn my life around. After serving my time, I moved to a new town and started fresh. I got a job, reconnected with my family, and even met the love of my life. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. Looking back, I learned that sometimes the easy way out isn't the best way out. I also learned that it's never too late to make a change and start over. If you're in a tough situation, don't be afraid to ask for help. There are people who care about you and want to see you succeed. And if you've made mistakes in the past, don't let them define you. You have the power to change your future. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it inspires you to make positive changes in your own life. Remember, you are capable of achieving great things. Growing up in southern Florida, in the town of Miramar, the author lived close to most of their friends. 2 of their friends lived on the same block, and as teenagers, they would often walk together to hang out on a block about 20 minutes away called 30th Street, where the majority of their friends lived. Along the way, they would pass a particular block that was longer than the others, with more tree coverage, and only one working light post in the center, which made it much darker and spookier than the other blocks, especially at night. They had named this block the Scary Block due to its eerie appearance. One late Friday night, the author was at their friend's house on 30th Street, and it was about 3 a.m. Despite their friends not being there, the author decided to walk home alone as they never liked sleeping out of their own house no matter what time it was. Everything seemed pretty normal until they reached the Scary Block. At 3 a.m., there wasn't much sound outside, but there were zombie noises like insects, and occasionally the sound of a late-night vehicle passing by. As they approached the Scary Block, all ambient noises and vehicles seemed to cease to make any noises, and things got eerily quiet, which made the author paranoid, and they had a strange foreboding feeling in their gut. As they entered the block, their stomachs sank as they saw a pale person standing in the center of the block where the only white post on the block was illuminated. Although they were still quite some distance away, the person was just standing there, not moving an inch and just looking straight down the block. The author's heart started racing, and their imagination was running wild as to why this person was just standing there in the middle of the block. As they got closer, they realized it was an elderly woman who looked to be absolutely petrified, like she herself had seen a ghost. As the author got even closer, they could see her facial features and expressions, and she was still not moving an inch, almost like a statue with a scared face and eyes wide open, frozen on it. The hairs on the back of the author's neck were standing up on edge as they were within a few feet of the woman. As they passed by, she stopped and told them that there was something inside of her home in the attic and that they must go inside her home to find out what it was. Part of the author wanted to help her, but there was also another feeling telling them that something wasn't right. Like there would be something inside waiting to attack them, or possibly some kind of satanic cult looking to do a 3 a.m. blood sacrifice. They had no idea what to expect, but they just blurted out to the woman to call animal control or 911 and continued to walk. As they tried to quickly dismiss her and continue on their way, she kept saying how they had to come inside, almost begging and pleading. The author found this to be so strange and a huge red flag, so they ignored her and hurried home, not running but power walking. Finally, they made it home and nothing happened. Although this may not be the scariest story ever, the author still finds this particular event very creepy and strange and will never forget it. They believe that something bad would have happened to them if they had actually gone inside that house, and they're grateful they didn't.